You know, when WotC was using this size of a box for set boosters, it really allows for stuff to get damaged. Like you can hear the packs on the inside of this box just going wild. Guys, it's Richard with CRG Games, and this is going to be another after hours booster box opening because it's currently past 2 a.m. And I've got nothing better to do right now, I suppose. This will probably be the last thing I do today, though, because I'm pretty tired. Yeah, so Strixhaven, the set's currently like basically crashing. If you look at the the card prices online, like everything in Strixhaven is just right down in the drain. But Mystical Archives still got value. So that's what we're looking for. Specifically, Teferi's Protection and Demonic Tutor. And as we know from previous set boxes of this, you can get up to 5 rares in a pack, which is pretty impressive. Actually, there we go. Illuminate History, that's a rare in the first slot there. Then we got a Vanishing Verse, Village Rites, and Fractal Summoning. Yeah, so I talked about this yesterday. The whole market is in a slump, and that has really had an impact on singles as well. And, I was thinking that singles prices are what is going to hold people over when the market on sealed is down. And I still think that's the case, but it does seem to be that you have to be more careful about what you're doing with the singles. So, for example, a card I recently thought, was a good spec. And in times like this, I think specs probably happen more than people buying sealed product. But Corpse Knight from Corset 2020, I posted on Reddit that I thought that card was undervalued. And, some people agreed. It got a decent amount of upvotes, but nothing crazy. And some people were just thinking that, oh, it's a terrible, it's not a terrible card, it's just a bad spec. Well, that card went from less than $1 to like $3 now. And fair warning, I do have now like 300 copies. So I may or may not be part of the reason that card is spiking. But the reason I bring that up is because in markets like this, when things are slow, things are low, you need to keep an eye on potentially underpriced cards. And for the ability that Corpse Knight has, and for the number of printings that it has, I looked at it and I thought, you know what? This card is worth more than 40 cents or 30 cents. And indeed, other people agree. A lot of copies sell of that card pretty much daily. So I took a gamble, bought around 300 copies from wherever I could. And now it's up in the, $1.50 to $3.69 range. Yeah, so specs can happen, and they will happen during this time, and you got to make sure you're not sleeping on them. Because if someone, and it's not just me, there are other people who buy cards out too. If someone says, hey, this card looks like it's underpriced, if it truly is, and other people agree, maybe consider picking up a couple copies. The worst thing that can happen is you'll lose a couple bucks because they go back to whatever price they were. Or if you got in at a good price, you sell them and you break even. That's not the worst thing in the world. But to not do anything and miss out, that's where the real pain comes in. Because it's better to make $1 than it is to make nothing. And if you are not, you know, participating in the market, you end up losing out on everything, really. So that's one spec I got. Mandate of Peace. That one's a little different story. I got a lot of copies of that, but nobody seems to think Mandate of Peace is a good card. I still do. And I have, like, I don't know, probably 200 copies of that card. It's still cheap. It's probably going to be cheap for a long time, but there is only one printing, and that is one of the reasons I was specking on it. It's a little bit of a, it's a niche card maybe, but I still like it. So I got a bunch of copies of that. Nascent Metamorph. I just like that card. For what it does and for what it costs mana-wise, like, it's so cheap. It's a 2-drop that can get rid of stuff off of somebody's library. And it happens whether it blocks or attacks, and then it becomes a copy of whatever, creature pops up until end of turn. So I don't know. I like that card. Hey, Galazeth Prismari. I really like Nascent Metamorph, and I've got probably 100 copies of that. So real quick, Galazeth Prismari and all of the dragons from this set are currently rising in value, and that is because of the dragons from the new set. Galazeth Prismari in extended art is currently around $5. Not anything crazy, but that's more than it was a couple months ago. I mean, you can say that at least. There we go, Teaching of the Archaics. Also, I believe that times like this is a good time to buy product, and you can open it too. If you get something, if you get product that's cheap enough that you can crack and you can make money on it, that's fine. But also, you should keep product that has a very low cost basis for later down the road. Because if you can get a box for, $80 now, in an 18 to 24 months, sell it for 200, that's a huge win, profit wise, and profit percentage wise. So yes, while you can open this stuff, maybe keep 1 or 2 boxes back. Don't open everything. But anyways, other than Magic, I think there's some other good movies coming out this year that I'm kind of excited to see. Specifically, Avatar 2, right? It came out in what, 2009 or 2010? That came out when I was in high school. I went and saw it at the local theater. And, then they started talking about, Avatar 2 is going to be out, December of the next year or whatever it was. And then it didn't come out. And then it didn't come out again. It's going to be out the next year. Then it didn't come out. And, they kept saying that the technology doesn't exist, and that's fine. It's just, it got moved back so many damn times. And it started to feel like this movie's not actually going to get made. This is the biggest rickroll of the 21st century, Avatar 2. And now it's actually coming out. So I'm excited. I liked the first movie. And yes, I know it's Pocahontas, I believe is what people say it is. Basically the story of. But it's still really cool. Great movie. Great visual effects. It's a cool concept. I don't know, I guess you would call it the flavor of the movie is really cool. With the the blue people and whatnot, all that good stuff. Yeah, I'm excited for the for this new movie. I almost call it a new version, Way of the Water. And we have a nice little local theater here in town that shows first run movies for like $6 or $8. Yeah, it's a blessing to have that here in town. Yes, I will be seeing it. I believe that's later this year. Other than that, just like the Magic market, the movie market seems to be on the weak side. Now, I might feel differently if I could go like to a film festival or something like that and see all the indie films. I'll watch just about anything. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Rubber. It came out years ago. It's about a sentient tire that like kills people. Yeah, You tell somebody about that movie, and they're gonna say think you're crazy, and they're like, "No way, gonna watch that." It's actually kind of cool. It had a lot of weird stuff in it, but it worked. So I can watch just about anything. I like that movie. I don't know what other kind of weird movies I've watched, but definitely a lot of them. Not gonna lie, back in the day, back in the high school days when what's it called, LimeWire was still a thing. I wasn't around for like Napster and all that stuff. BearShare, that was one of them. Pirate Bay is still around, even though it's always under attack. Yeah, I had a lot of movies back in the day. I used to burn them to discs because I thought that was cool and that I would always have a movie library available to me. And then I, realized that's kind of dumb. So now I have a bunch of discs that I'll probably never use. gotta love the good old days. Now you just get yourself a VPN. Allegedly, you get yourself a VPN. You go on the Pirate Bay and you borrow content or something like that. I don't know what people do on there. I've never heard of the Pirate Bay, so use it at your own discretion. I don't know if maybe I should say that or not. It is what it is. You actually really should use it at your own discretion because it is possible to get viruses, and you can really F up your computer or whatever else you're using. Casmina, borderless, that's very nice. Good old Doomblade and Brothers Yamazaki. Got that one before. Yeah, pirating is bad. Definitely don't pirate anything. People don't like that, and it can get you in big trouble. Just ask my cable provider or my internet provider. They'll tell you. So, yeah, last pack here. Nothing crazy in this box. We didn't get any, actually Verdant Mastery foil might be a couple bucks. I'm not sure, but nothing crazy in here. No big mystical archive hits. A lot of this stuff is actually, dropping in price a little bit. But it still holds value. And I think things, the foils, like long term, things like that Opt, D-Spark, probably not claim the firstborn, but, Abundant Harvest, like these kind of things, I think they're gonna do fine in the long run. They got a great look to them. They're mostly all usable. Like Mana Tithe, that's a very usable card. Negate, very usable card. I think these are going to do fine long term. The other stuff, I also think it's going to do fine because it's got things like the lessons, the land cycle, of course. Like I think this is probably going to stay, repressed for a long time, and then it'll do okay. But we'll see what happens. All right, that has been our late night set booster box opening. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you would, consider subscribing. I'm going to continue to put out content for, as long as I'm playing Magic the Gathering, and that's going to be for the foreseeable future. So, until next time, I will catch you guys later.